Today we're making mead, or we're starting mead at least. So yay for cheap alcohol. Friends, today we have a rare visit from a rare friend, and that is the mead bucket. Today we're making mead, or we're starting mead at least. Now today I am once again attempting to make mead with a flavor, not just regular like mead with honey. And this time I'm going to try to make blueberry mead, and not just like those garden blueberries, but wild blueberries, which are supposed to be like a pretty good way to like make a more dark, like reddish mead. I was hoping to get like a more red mead last year when I tried to make cherry mead, but I mean, the cherry mead, it turned out really good. Like the taste was a lot better than the first mead I ever made. Well, and the cherry mead was the second mead I ever made. So I'm really happy about that. But however, it does not at all taste of cherries at all. Like the flowery like scent of honey is just overwhelming in the cherry mead, and it just overpowers the cherry, and it's not even sweet. It's just like when you breathe out, it feels flowery, if that makes sense. But yes, I'm going to be using the yeast that I always use, and when I say always, it's those whopping other 2 times that I have used it before. And for that I need to boil water and then cool it to 30 degrees Celsius. So I will start with the boiling water, and during that time we can prepare the blueberries. Now my bucket is already thoroughly cleaned. It hasn't been sanitized, and I know that you should sanitize your stuff when you make mead, but I never have. I've just washed things and it's been okay. So once again, do as I say, not as I do. And I'm also going to be using this like mesh bag that it's meant for making juice, but I couldn't find like a finer mesh bag for meat, for like flavoring alcohols in the stores. So I'm just going to like put the blueberries in and then tie it closed, because it apparently doesn't come with a string. And yes, and I'll just put the blueberries in. And I'm not going to wash the blueberries because I think those would just turn the blueberries into mush preemptively. And I'm going to be like smushing the blueberries before I do any of the, before I add any of the honey. And I don't actually know how much honey I will be using today. I mean, yet. Like, I have at least 3 kilos, at least 3.5 kilos of honey. I'm probably not going to be using all of that, but because I have learned my lesson with that when you want to flavor your mead, you need to use a lot of the thing that you are going to be flavoring it with. I'm using 1 kilo of blueberries, an entire kilo, so that might be a little bit much, but I want the blueberry flavor to be stronger. I mean, strong enough to actually be able to taste it this time. So I'll just tie the bag closed, and oh man, what the hell? What the hell? The bag's broken. This is just rude. Okay. Alternative plan. I can also just because the bag is broken and I really don't feel like fixing it, I'll just dump all the blueberries in the bucket, smush them in the bucket, and just strain them out once the fermenting has stopped. Yeah, it's going to be a bit more of a hassle, but I guess that's what you get when you get substandard products. So because my potato masher is made out of wood, and the wild blueberries are the blueberries that make like the really dire things very purple, like both skin and wood. I'm going to be using just the bottom of a mug to smush it all. I'm not going to be like doing the like most thorough job of smushing them all, because it's not like I'm making juice. Like the blueberries are going to be hanging out with the mead for a while, like likely a month-ish, because like that's I don't like I haven't written down from previous years what like how long the fermenting process has taken, because it depends heavily on the temperature of the room that it's in, and that depends on the weather. So I mean, I'm expecting the fermentation process to take about a month, because after today the weather is promising to get a little bit more on the colder side. This is what the smashed up blueberries are looking like, and they are very dark, which is exactly how the forest blueberries are, and they're not at all similar to the garden variety that has like a white inside. So now I need to decide how much honey I'm going to use, because I have three of these little buckets, which are each 1 kilo, and this is like really fresh honey, and I think that I'm going to use all of the three like bucket honeys. And I also have two that have been sitting for a little while, so they are hardened, and I like hardened honey more for like other things, so I want to preserve, like keep one of these jars for regular eating. So I'm thinking I will do 3 kilos, and then however much is in this. And I think I may have done the same last year, because last year I used 3.63 kilos of honey, and to that I added 7.57 liters of water. So I'm going to follow that ratio, because I'm really happy with that ratio and like the alcohol content that I got from that. Even though I haven't actually measured the alcohol content, I just like the taste of that mead. So I just hope that my little like kitchen scale can handle that amount of weight on it. And then I shall dump all this in. And I don't want to waste any of it, because honey is not the cheapest thing around, although like mead, like surprisingly like mead, like when I make mead myself, it just surprises me how cheap it is to make your own like wine substitute, essentially, because the like the amount of oh no, don't fall in. How do I put this? Like the amount of alcohol that you get out of the euros that you invest in making it, it's a very good ratio. So yay for cheap alcohol. And also one fun thing about this like mead that I'm making is that it's going to be ridiculously local. Like, of course the yeast is not local, it's some international thing, but the honey and the blueberries, they are all like very much Estonian. And I mean, the honey is actually like so local that I just bought this like from the road between here and Tartu. So it is literally from the farmers around here, which is so cool. Like I am making an alcoholic drink out of the goods that local farmers have grown. How cool is that? Okay, now it is time to weigh how much honey I get out of one of these jars. I might have to use a metal spoon for this because it is hardened. Oh, and if you're wondering about the price of the honey, I don't remember like what the price of one of these jars was. And it looks like this one jar is about 700 grams because it's weighing up as 672 grams at the moment, but like there's still a little bit here, and I'm just going to I'm not going to toss this out. I'm just going to add some hot water in here and get all the honey out of this jar. But the cost of the honey was not too bad. While I don't remember the price of the jars, the kilogram little buckets were only 10 euros each, which is a lot cheaper than what you would get in the marketplace in Tartu. So it pays to know who next to your road has bees and is willing to sell honey. So it does look like I'm going to be using pretty much the exact same recipe as I did use last year. So I'm pretty sure that I have 3.7 kilos of honey, and I will be adding 7.6 liters of water to it. But first I have to wash the pot so that I can weigh the water. Yes. So this pot full is going to be 5 liters. And this is pretty warm water. It's not like the hottest water that comes from the sink, but it's pretty warm because otherwise the honey doesn't want to dissolve very well if the water is not warm enough. And also it's going to help kickstart the fermentation. So yeah, warm water. And this is the rest of it. The bucket is really filling up. Now I have hit a bit of a snag, and that is that I have lost my thermometer, my food grade thermometer. I do still have my yarn dyeing thermometer, but I cannot use it for food things. I cannot measure the temperature of the water with that. So I'm going to have to guess how warm the water in this pot is now. It has boiled and it has now cooled down a little, a fair amount. And the yeast package says that it needs to cool down to 30 degrees Celsius. So that is should feel mildly warm to the touch. So, and I mean, I have made a lot of yeast doughs in my life, so I do know the amount of yeast, the amount of the good warm temperature that yeast likes. So it's just, I wanted to do this properly, but it's not where it is usually. But yes, we need 100 milliliters of the pre-boiled water, cooled down to 30 degrees. And it is, I think it's a little bit too warm at the moment, so I'm going to let it rest for a little bit more, even though it likely will cool faster now that I have poured it into the 100 milliliter thing. And oh yeah, I need to mix the mixture of the blueberries and honey. It is really dark. I like it. Look at the darkness of this thing. It's amazing. I hope that the color stays like this. Well, I'm going to say that this is a good temperature now. So in goes the yeast mixture. And now we give this a good stir. And then we leave it to activate for 20 minutes. And then we can pour it into the bucket with the water in here as well, because this is dissolving the honey here. Now that entire bucket, no, not what bucket, packet of yeast is supposed to be good for like up to 30 liters of wine. I mean, like it should be good for like 10 to 30 liters of liquid. And it looks like I have almost 12 liters of liquid, if you trust the markings on the bucket. So I think what I did last year is I used half of it. So I'm going to be once again using half of the mixture, because I'm not sure what happens if you add too much yeast into the whole thing. Or I might use like 2/3. Like definitely not the whole thing, because that might be too much. But just not the whole thing. I'm thinking 2/3. But I'm not going to measure like that quite exactly, because like if the package gives the range between 10 to 30, then that is like quite a wide margin of error then that I can be allowed to make. That is the timer for the yeast, which looks nicely fluffy and activated. So, oh yeah, I wasn't going to use the entire thing. So mix, mix, mix. And boop. A little bit more. A little bit more. And yeah, I think that's good. This is what we have left over. Hopefully about 2/3. So now we mix, 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 mix. And the bucket is feeling nicely, just slightly warm to the touch, which is going to be perfect for the yeast to start immediately eating the sugar in the honey and making it into alcohol for me. It looks so cool. It looks so cool. I love the color. I love the color so much. So now I put on the lid, which doesn't go on very easily because it needs to be very airtight. Okay, is it on? Yeah. And this is the, yeah, once again I have forgotten what the name of this thing is, but you fill it with water, which I'm going to do now. Okay, this is perfect. You fill it with water so that it creates an airlock, so the carbon dioxide that is going to be produced by the fermentation process is going to first fill up the bucket, and then it's going to start increasing the pressure in the bucket, so the air, or not, the carbon dioxide will make its way through here and just start gently pushing this water down. And once the water is pushed down enough, it's going to come out as a bubble on the other side and into my room. And that is what we call an airlock. So hopefully either today or tomorrow, or at latest the day after tomorrow, we should see some bubbling happening, and that is how we will know that the fermentation has begun. But now I'm going to put this in the sauna, because it's best to keep fermenting things in dark places, and the sauna is the darkest place I have. Also, because it's promising to be like get colder starting tomorrow, and I will likely have to start heating the house again. I might as well do that with the like stove, no, oven, whatever you call it, in the sauna, so that the sauna becomes the warmest room in the house, and I can just leave all the doors open, and like it will be like the best place for any fermentation to happen, because fermenting things like to be warm. And less than 24 hours in, we have a very nice amount of bubbling going on. We just have to wait a little bit for that air to reach the threshold. And any moment now. Come on, Bubble, show the people. I mean, you can already see from the fact that the water level has been shifted so much that there is like a fair amount of pressure coming up from the bucket of mead. Ha 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 ha. Good morning. Yesterday, me and my mom went to the forests close to Elva and went mushroom hunting. And like our goal was to find as many of the red dye mushrooms as we could. And we did find some, but we ended up getting a humongous amount of chanterelles, which was really surprising because my mom says that chanterelles are not that common. And like you really need to know the spots where they grow. So it was really surprising that we found so many chanterelles, and it's great for my mom also because she likes eating them. I don't because I don't like the texture of mushrooms. I don't want like eating mushrooms unless the texture has been destroyed by pureeing them. But yes, we found a little bit of the red dye mushrooms, like only this amount. Uh, and I'm not even 100% sure that it's that it's like the mushroom that I want. It's like the mushroom that I want is Cortinaros semisangueus. And like I'm not 100% certain if this is the right one, because like it does have like the more dark underside that that you want to see, but it's not as red as like I wanted to. Like it's not as red as the pictures on Google said on the underside. So I'm not sure if it's the correct mushroom, but I'm just going to try it out by simmering it in some hot water for a couple hours and seeing if any dye material comes out. Because it's okay, like it's not like I'm going to eat the mushrooms because they're not edible. I know that for certain. And I just want to get dye, like extract dye out of them. So for that, it's fine. Because I'm not risking anything by just boiling them to possibly die with. But I'm hoping that this amount of mushrooms is going to be enough of dye material if it is the correct dye mushroom. That I hope that it will provide enough dye to do one skein, to make one skein red. But we shall see. This is going to be the exploration of today, and possibly we might try going to some different forests in the upcoming weekends. But just yes, this was a fun adventure, and it will continue in the form of dye extraction. Now, I'm not going to keep the mushrooms whole because, like, I need to extract the dye material, so I'm just going to smash them a little bit. Now, this might be too much water, but I also need there to be enough water for the yarn to be able to like move freely in it. So let's start simmering. Well, it's been a fair amount of time of simmering, and I don't think that there's going to be any more dye stuff that comes out of it. And it is looking somewhat redder, so maybe, just maybe, we will be actually getting some dye out of this liquid. Because it stinks. So what's going to happen now is that I will heat this, start slowly heating it up again, and I will dunk a singular bat of yarn into this pot that I will fill up with warm water. Yes. Wow, I was just not ready for the stink to be that strong. And for the yarn, I'm going to be actually using my oopsie yarn, which it's an oopsie because it is nicely mordanted and so it's ready for dyeing. However, before we went on the trip, I forgot to take it back inside from its drying. So by the time I got back from the trip, from the road trip, I found like a congregation of small white eggs on that skein of yarn. So I immediately freaked out. I washed the eggs off and I put the yarn into the freezer. So now it's been in the freezer for a solid week, and I hope that the combination of being in the freezer for a while and then getting put slowly to a temperature of 80 to 90 degrees to like soak up whatever dye came from the mushrooms will kill any possible moth larvae in those eggs that might be remaining in the yarn. That is the hope, because I will very much cry if something gets into my yarn and ruins all of it. So let's soak this yarn and hope for the best. Okay, the yarn has been soaking for maybe half an hour. I don't feel like waiting any longer. And the dye solution is relatively warm. So let's just dunk in the yarn and see what we get in some time. Because first the temperature needs to be slowly raised to 80 to 90 degrees Celsius, and only then will the color actually start adhering to the yarn. And the situation is looking promising in the sense that like there does seem to be some kind of dye in the water. It just might not be red, but I guess we shall see. We shall see in some time. Well, my disgusting concoction has been going for quite a few hours, and I did mess up a little bit because it started boiling at some point, which it's not supposed to do because it can felt the yarn and it might affect the dye as well. But as you can see, it hasn't really given us much dye stuff. So I am kind of I'm not even certain if the mushrooms were actually like the correct dye mushroom or not, because like we did get some dye, I think, out of the mushrooms, because the liquid is still quite like orange. It's just not really adhering to the yarn, it seems like. So I think I'm just going to call this experiment done, throw this away, and wash off the yarn and see how it dries. Good morning. It is the next day. The mushroom yarn has finished drying, kind of, and which means that we have the final color that we got from the mushrooms. And it doesn't have a whole lot of like new color to it. It does look a little bit more yellow than my undyed yarn. I'll show you what it looks like compared to the undyed yarn. Like this is undyed and this is the one with mushroom dye. So there is like quite a bit of difference in color, like a little bit of difference in color, but it is a lot more yellow than I was expecting it to be. Like I thought that I was expecting the mushroom, the Cortinarius semisangueus mushroom, to give more of a orange or red color to the yarn, but I don't know if it's because I had just so little of the mushrooms or if it's because I accidentally boiled the solution a little bit that made it give a more of a yellow color on the yarn. I'm not sure. I'm not even 100% certain if the mushrooms that I got are actually Cortinarius semisangueus. So if you have any experience picking and using Cordinarius semisanguis for dyeing, and you know if I use the correct mushroom even, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to get some confirmation on that. But I think I will try to find more of this mushroom at a different time and in a different forest probably, to try again, because this I think is going to get re-dyed eventually. I just have to re-mordant it as well. So this has been, I think that this has been like my first yarn dyeing with natural dyeing fail. So that's been interesting. I hope that it was still interesting to observe, and we shall see what happens if I get more of the mushroom ever. But yes, I hope that you have enjoyed this video of me starting mead and trying out a new different dye source for my yarn. And I hope to see you in the next one. And also I wanted to tell you that I have set up a Ko-Fi account where you can buy me a coffee or just support my channel further if you want to. Just no pressure at all. This is just if you want to support my channel further, because I don't quite have the statistics on my channel to monetize my videos on YouTube yet. So it's just a little something that I'm trying out. But yes, I hope to see you in the next video. It's been fun, and I'll see ya. Bye.